And don't forget to order your copy of Football Game Plan's latest book, Stiff Arming Football Myths, an excellent book that you can find on our website at footballgameplan.com/books, available in both PDF as well as paperback form.
Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, bring you our 2014 NFL team preview for the New Orleans Saints. We're going to take a look at their offense, their defense, as well as their special teams. So let's start off on the offensive side of the football with the quarterback position.
The Saints have one of the best quarterbacks in the game in Drew Brees, who will go over 40,000 career passing yards and 300 touchdowns in his Saints career this season. Since coming over to New Orleans in 2006, Brees has led the league in passing 4 times, touchdowns 4 times, and completion percentage 3 times. Health permitting, there is no telling how long he can continue to play at this high level. With that said, the Saints can't suffer any injury to Brees because Luke McCown and Ryan Griffin are questionable at best, and I actually think undrafted rookie free agent Logan Kilgore out of Middle Tennessee State is a better prospect than the both of them. Talent isn't the question here in the backfield for the Saints, more so than the lack of carries on a game-to-game basis is. In my opinion, Mark Ingram is the best back on the roster. He's the perfect combination of vision, balance, and burst. He just needs the carries. Pierre Thomas's consistency as well as his play has kept him around here for 8 seasons. Kyrie Robinson is a one-cut downhill runner with very good acceleration, while Travaris Cadet is a versatile and valuable member of the special teams unit. Keep an eye on undrafted rookie free agent Tim Flanders out of Sam Houston State, who in my opinion has second-round talent and is as versatile and as valuable as Cadet and would easily be the second best back on the roster. Here's a position where the Saints had to get more dynamic and much more explosive, and they did just that by adding Brandon Cooks in the first round out of Oregon State. Cooks is similar to the Rams' Tavon Austin and lands in an ideal spot to maximize his talents. Team him up with the veteran Marcus Colston, who was second on the team in receiving last year, along with second-year wideout Kenny Stills, who averaged 20 yards a catch. The Saints still have Robert Meacham, who's more of a specialty situational player at this point in his career, and the guy to keep an eye on is undrafted rookie free agent Brandon Coleman out of Rutgers, who has Plaxico Burress-like ability and is, in my opinion, he should be the second or third receiver after Colston and Cooks. Nick Toone's health is always a concern, and he'll have to compete with Alex Tanner and Joe Morgan for that final receiver spot. At tight end is Jimmy Graham, who led the team in receiving last year, catching 86 passes for over 1,200 yards and 16 touchdowns. His ability to be moved around the formation creates matchup problems each and every week. Veteran Benjamin Watson did a solid job as the number 2 guy on both ends, blocking and receiving in his 11th season. Look for undrafted rookie free agent Nick Jacobs out of McNeese State to compete with Josh Hill for the 3rd tight end spot. In my opinion, Jacobs' receiving skills make him much more of an attractive option over Hill, who has inconsistent hands. The Saints are solid up front with 4 out of the 5 starting offensive linemen returning. On the edges, Teron Armstead got better with every rep as a rookie and played very good ball down the stretch. Right tackle Zach Streif was re-signed to continue anchoring on the right side. And the Saints are very stout at guard with Ben Grubbs and also Jairi Evans. And the center position was a slight question mark after losing Brian De La Puente. Tim Lelito was the lone player on the roster before the Saints signed former Saint Jonathan Goodwin to compete for the job, along with undrafted rookie free agent Matt Armstrong, who was actually Lelito's teammate at Grand Valley State. Depth is a big-time concern here with a lot of unproven guys outside of Bryce Harris backing these guys up from tackle to tackle. This was a strong unit for New Orleans last year, and the key part to the defensive turnaround, moving to the 3-4, was ideal for both Cameron Jordan and Akeem Hicks, and Jordan enjoyed a breakout season with 12.5 sacks, making a difference versus the run as well. Hicks enjoyed good success as well, finishing with 63 tackles and 4.5 sacks. Both Broderick Bunkley and John Jenkins played some good football at the nose tackle position, and Jenkins, in my opinion, will end up taking over for Bunkley this season. Glenn Foster and Teron Walker were solid rotational guys, and keep an eye on George Juco, an undrafted rookie free agent out of USC. I think he has a chance to stick because of his pass rushing ability from the 5-tech position. Last year, the Saints' linebacking core was extremely productive. Inside linebackers Curtis Lofton and David Hawthorne combined for 261 tackles, and both players are entering their 7th season in the NFL. On the outside, Junior Gillette finished second on the team in sacks with 12, and his play wasn't a surprise. He just needed the opportunity. Paris Harrelson was a key acquisition last year, starting 8 games, and he'll have to hold off Victor Butler, who was signed last offseason to be the starter but went down with injury in training camp. The team went out and wanted to focus on the depth, which is why they added guys like Kyrie Ford and Ronald Powell in the draft. And if Powell can stay healthy, he has very good pass rushing skills, and second-year players like inside linebacker Kevin Reddick and outside backer Rufus Johnson also factor in the mix. This is the position where the Saints had to make big-time improvements, and it's tough to say that the number 2 pass defense had to improve, but that number has little to do with what was going on in the back end. The Saints needed ball hawks, and that's what they went out and acquired in free safety Jarius Byrd out of Buffalo and future Hall of Famer Champ Bailey from the Broncos, and they drafted Stanley Jean-Baptiste out of Nebraska in the 2nd round. Bailey and Byrd have 74 interceptions between them in their career, and Jean-Baptiste is a 6'3", 218-pound former wide receiver with ball skills. This trio will fit in perfectly with cornerback Keenan Lewis, who showed surprising ball skills last year by leading the team in interceptions with 4, and safety Kenneth Vaccaro, who has solid matchup skills and great range, finishing 3rd on the squad in tackles with 92. The Saints do have some good depth guys in Raphael Bush, who is an enforcer over the middle of the field, and Rod Sweeting along with Corey White and even Trevin Wade. I'd also keep an eye on undrafted rookie free agent Brian Dixon out of Northwest Missouri State, who plays with great instincts and also has those ball skills that you look for. The Saints also added safety depth with Vinny Sinceri in the 5th round out of Alabama. The Saints' kicking game is impressive. Kicker Shane Graham is a 14-year vet that was a late addition to the team last season. He is an 85% career field goal kicker. When we look at punter Thomas Morstead, he's one of the best in the NFC, averaging 46.9 yards a punt, downing 25 inside the 20, while also doubling as the kickoff guy. Travaris Cadet gets first crack at both kickoff and punt return duties, but I would also look out for either Brandon Cooks or Timothy Flanders to push for at least one of those spots. Having one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL along with a pressure-style defense will always give you a shot to win. Having beefed up the secondary and the receiving corps gives the Saints a lot of optimism moving forward. Now, the biggest concern would be the depth at the linebacking position along with the offensive line. Those are 2 spots outside of quarterback where the Saints can't afford any injuries this year. The road to the Super Bowl for the Saints goes as follows. Number 1, they have to balance out the offense. When the Saints won the Super Bowl back in 2009, they were one of the top rushing teams in the game to go along with their potent passing attack, so they have to balance out the offense. And that revamped secondary with all the additional ball hawks back there have to find ways to generate turnovers to get the ball back to the offense, and they have to keep Drew Brees clean. Can't have him under duress throughout the course of the game. You have to keep him one of the most well-protected quarterbacks in the league in order to get to where you want to go at the end of the season. I have the Saints finishing first in the NFC South. They got better both offensively and defensively. They didn't lose much while adding much more talent. And with the rededication to offensive balance, the Saints could find themselves marching into Glendale, Arizona in February. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Saint fan forums for always showing football game plan support.